The Sony 24mm G Master is a light, compact, full-frame lens for the Sony E-mount system. It comes in a classy G Master box and is packaged within this padded carrying case. This kind of presentation feels extremely premium, even though you'll probably never use the case. It weighs just under a pound at 15.7 ounces, or about the same weight as a baseball, or a pack of spaghetti. It's 3 3/4 inches long, which is about the size of a business card, or a Robusto cigar. It has a 67mm filter thread, interchangeable with the Bokeh lineup of lenses, but not interchangeable with other G Master lenses at this time. The G Master is moisture and dust resistant, but doesn't have any kind of weather sealing on the mount. The lens has a minimum focusing distance of 0.79 feet and has an 11-bladed aperture, capable of closing down to f/16 and wide open at f1.4, but we'll get to more of that later. One of the G Master's strengths is in its manual control options. The lens features one focus hold button that can also be programmed to other functions. It has a declickable aperture ring for smooth transitions when shooting video in different lighting situations. The manual autofocus switch is essential in run-and-gun video shoots or when you want to transition easily between the camera's spot-on autofocus and manual focus. The G Master lenses are the closest thing to functioning like cinema lenses in the entire E-mount lineup, and that's one of the reasons why I love them. As with all G Master lenses, the autofocus is nearly flawless in photo mode. If your exposure and composition are on point, it won't miss. Even the doggy autofocus works like a charm. The autofocus drive is fast, powerful, and completely silent. In video, the autofocus is fast even at 1.4. I often use the lens for interview setups, and I'm able to set the focus area and leave it alone with minimal focus breathing. This is my main YouTube lens, vlogging lens and wide angle for professional video work like interviews. The footage when shot in S-Log2 is beautiful to color grade. It's a sharp lens for video at all apertures, even at 1.4. The colors you can pull out in post make for an incredibly cinematic, filmic look. It's not quite wide enough for real estate, but it's the perfect option for B-roll or A-roll interviews with just the right amount of that wide-angle look. The built-in image stabilization, when paired with the IBIS of the A7 III, makes it a fantastic pairing when running handheld. The thing to say about this lens is that it's sharp. For those who love this stuff like I do, the 24mm G Master lens uses two XA or extreme aspherical elements to create the clarity and sharpness that's become synonymous with G Master lenses. It also has 3 ED or extra low dispersion elements, which attribute to the lens's lack of chromatic aberration and the fact that it's nearly impossible to get it to flare, which from a clarity and sharpness standpoint is a great thing. Go ahead and add those flares in post. The lens really shines in wide-angle photography such as buildings and landscapes, but its 1.4 capabilities also make it a fantastic lens for stylized and environmental portraits. Once again, the eye autofocus works like a dream, and the final images are sharp right where you want them to be. The 24mm G Master has an 11-bladed aperture, producing perfectly round bokeh and a soft, dreamy background when shooting outdoors. There's no onion effect going on here, and the lights behind your subject enhance the contrast and sharpness of your photo's focal point. This is the entire reason to get this lens. Its power at 1.4, and it's the reason why I love it so much. The Sony G Master lineup is an exceptional group of high-powered professional lenses. They come at a cost, with this lens being the least expensive of the entire lineup at just under $1,400. That's a lot to invest in a prime lens at a fixed focal length, especially if you're a photographer who does predominantly weddings and events. Sony's G Master zoom lenses would be worth your time to research if that applies to you. But if you're a hybrid shooter or filmmaker using mirrorless cameras, then this is a no-brainer. The professional filmic look that this lens produces in video is exceptional. And if you love extreme depth of field and clean, crisp images as a photographer, then this lens is for you. And while I don't often go all the way to 1.4, I find that the flexibility that it gives you and the kinds of images it produces makes the extra expense and extra depth of field well worth it. If you're a Sony shooter and you prefer prime lenses, then this is a must-have in your kit. And after 6 months of shooting everything from recreational photos to broadcast commercials, I can say that this is probably the best and most versatile lens that I've ever used.